Hello and welcome to the next edition of the HP Discover podcast series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing discussion on IT innovation and how it's making an impact on people's lives. Once again, we're focusing on how companies are adapting to the new style of IT to improve IT performance, gain new insights, and deliver better user experiences, as well as better overall business results. Our next innovation case study panel discussion explores how improved business service management and data access improvements at a Swiss insurance company and a Turkish mobile phone carrier help to spur new business benefits and IT performance issues resolution. By more deeply examining how applications are performing via total performance monitoring and metrics, these enterprises slashed mean time to resolution and later significantly reduced the number of IT incidents. To learn more about how to build high confidence that IT disruptions can be managed and even headed off, please join me in welcoming our panelists. We're here with Thomas Baumann, IT Performance Architect at Swiss Mobilier in Bern. Welcome, Thomas.
Welcome, Dana.
Good. Nice to have you with us. We're also here with Merve Duran, a Management System Specialist at Avaya in Istanbul. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Dana.
Let's start with you, Thomas. Tell us a little bit about Swiss Mobilier and what you're doing to increase the performance of your applications.
Yeah, Swiss Mobilier is Switzerland's most personal insurance company. It's also the oldest insurance company, founded in 1826, so a couple of years ago. And every third household is insured at Swiss Mobilier, so we are number one in household content insurance. My role at Swiss Mobilier is I'm called a Minister of Performance at Swiss Mobilier. So I'm responsible for optimizing all the applications, infrastructure, etc. And
tell us a bit about the challenges that you've had in terms of keeping all of your applications performing, and maybe you could even offer us an idea of the scale, the number of end users you have that you support with those applications.
Well, the most important user group are our users. There are about 4,500 users, but we also deliver applications directly to our customers. So that makes a group of users at about 2.5 million.
All right. What are your goals? What requirements have you been trying to meet in terms of better performance, and how do you go about achieving that?
Well, about 2 years ago, we had a very reactive service model. We were only listening to customers or users complaining about bad response times or unresolved tickets and things like that. Additionally, our event console went to end of life, so we were thinking about a more comprehensive solution, and we have chosen HP's Real User Monitoring and HP's OMI to help us increase our mean time to repair and to get a better understanding of end user performance and on how our applications are used by our customers.
And how important, Thomas, is the acquisition of data and the use of that data? Have you changed your either attitude or culture when it comes to being data-driven as a path to this better performance?
Yeah, initially we had only very few data and data that was generated by synthetical measurements. Now we measure real end-user traffic at all times, at all locations, and from all users, based for the top applications that we have. We don't use it for all applications.
Do you have any sense of performance metrics and improvements? How do you measure your success?
And regarding end-user response times, we created something like a performance index comparable to a New York Stock Exchange Dow Jones index. We just calculate the average response times of the most important functions of an application, and the mean time of all these response times gives us this performance score value. So we started at 2012 to have a performance score value of 100, just to have a level of where we can measure the improvement. And now we are for the most important sales application, we are at 220 now. So it's an increase of factor of 2.2 in response time, in performance, a decrease in response times, of course.
And how have you been able to translate that through some sort of a feedback loop or the ability to predict where problems either are or are beginning so that you can perhaps head off problems altogether? Has that been something you've been able to achieve?
Yes, that was an operational management eye that helped us to achieve this, because now we are able to detect very small incidents before they start to impact our service. So in many cases, we could avoid a major incident or larger problem that led to an availability problem in our company, just by analyzing those very small defects or incidents which are detected by our machines.
Right. Before your customers and users detect them.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we call the customers that they have to do some this and this, and they're very surprised because how can they know that there is a problem before I have mentioned it?
Well, great. Let's now go to Merve at Avaya. Tell us a little bit about your company, how large it is, and what you're doing to improve your application's performance.
Avaya, the sole GSM 1800 mobile operator of Turkey, was founded in 2004. It is the youngest and alternative operator of Turkey. And as management systems teams, we are performing application performance management at Avayas IT domain.
Okay. What did you put in place, and what were you trying to improve upon as you've gone to a higher level of performance? How did you want to measure that? How did you want to improve?
I would like to explain the answer to the questions with an example. For example, for our mobile applications, we have more than 29 mobile applications in Avaya for iOS and Android-based devices. We know that these applications get approximately 525 hits in a day, and we know that the response times of these hits play a significant role in the overall user experience. So, and we know that mobile users are much less tolerant to the application errors, slow response times, and poor usability. That's why we need to manage our mobile application performance. So we are using HP real and synthetic user mobile monitoring solutions in Avaya.
Have you been able to measure and determine how that performance has improved? What have you been able to use to determine the success of your activities?
Before this solution, we had almost no data, no end user data on hand. So root cause analysis was too hard for us, and it took long times when a problem was occurred. And actually, we did not know how many problems were occurring. So with this solution, we can make root cause analysis, and we know how many issues occurred. Before this solution, we only know if the customers, we only find out if the customers complained. So mobile RAM and BPM solution is quite important for us.
Okay, great. Looking to the future, we're here at the Discover Conference, Thomas. Having listened to a lot of the speakers over the past several days, where do you see things going next? What's the next plane of improvement when it comes to applications? It's like a journey. You never get to your destination. You're always trying to improve things. Where do you see yourselves going next at your organization?
Well, for now, we use the room to analyze response times. What we start to do now is analyze the behavior of the user. How are they using our applications? How we could improve the workflow of whole business processes by analyzing how the applications are used, who is using them, from which location, etc.
And do you see the data that you're gathering and using being used in other aspects of IT? Does this have a adjacency benefit in some way, or is this something that you're just using specifically for applications performance?
For now we used it specifically for application performance, but we see large opportunities to mix these data with other data and to get more insight and have more overview of how applications are used. Maybe we can compare it with an airplane. For now we were flying at contact flight, and now we have migrated to instrumental flight. And we have also those black boxes now that we can analyze on how all those measurements developed over the last period, or what happened exactly before a crash, or in general how the systems are used and how we can improve it.
That's a very good analogy. It's one thing to just get to your destination, it's another to make that much more scientific and understood. Therefore, you can devise your future based on a plan rather than a reaction. That's important. Okay, I just want to go into one more direction before we end, and that would be the type of applications that you're using. Do you see more of a feedback loop to your developers? You're doing most of your activity in operations, but as we know, the better you design an application, the better it will then perform. And so DevOps is an important trend these days. Do you see yourselves as application performance professionals starting to have more impact on the development process of feedback of information to developers, maybe at the next generation of an application, or maybe for entirely new applications? Any thoughts, Merve?
For BPM solution, yes, this is quite helpful for us, because we can use this solution when we develop a new release of the application. So it will be good to test it before releasing the live site.
Thomas, any thoughts about bringing your information and intelligence back into testing or even development itself?
For development, it's a little bit more difficult, because we still develop a couple of applications, but most of them we purchase, so there's no much direct influence to development. But for testing, there are a lot of possibilities I can see there.
Right. Well, very good. We've been learning about how two organizations have been improving their applications performance via total performance monitoring and metrics. We've been talking with a Swiss insurance company and a Turkish mobile phone carrier. So I'd like to thank our guests. We've been joined by Thomas Baumann, IT Performance Architect at Swiss Mobilier in Bern. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And also Merve Duran, Management System Specialist at Avaya in Istanbul. Thank you.
Thank you too.
And I'd also like to thank our audience as well for joining us for this special new style of IT discussion. We've explored solid evidence from early enterprise adopters about how big data changes everything for IT, for businesses and governments, as well as for you and me. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host for this ongoing series of HP-sponsored discussions. Thanks again for listening, and come back next time.